everyone. This is Heather Hurt with the NRW Nerds Rule the World. And this past weekend, I actually got the opportunity to watch the first 3 episodes of the second season of Resident Alien. I was really excited for it. Of course, it didn't have any of the VFX in it, which is kind of funny, but did not detract. I still loved the series. Which led into today, where I got to do my very first ever press junket and interview a handful of the cast and the director. And I'm really excited to share that with you. To start off, just to send a great send a very appreciative shout out to Chris Sheridan, the director and writer, Alan Tudyk, who plays Harry Vanderspiegel, who is of course the alien. Plays him magnificently. Corey Reynolds, who plays Sheriff Mike, Sara Tomko, who plays Astrid 12 Trees, and Alice Wetterlund, who plays Darcy Bloom. Really appreciate their time. Love the answers. Love the passion. Love the excitement for the new season. Thank you all for taking time and enjoy the interviews.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, everyone.
Excited.
So we'll go ahead and get started. You have 8 minutes. I'll message you guys a 2-minute warning. So we'll start with the Coalition and then Nerds Rule the World and then Sci-Fi Vision.
Great, so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for doing this. My question, season 2, there's a lot of things that are at stake. What is it that you would say from a fan standpoint should really be excited for?
Oh, there's so much to be excited for. Well, I have to say one of the things to be excited for is the second season is we're shooting in the beginning of it is in summer. So it's a whole new look for the show. It's Patience in Summertime, which is awesome. We got people on boats. We got Harry in the water. There's a lot of fun stuff just visually that's going to be different than season 1. And then there's a little bit, then there's still the threat of imminent Earth destruction, that Harry's trying to stop. It's Harry now on the side of Asta trying to protect her as opposed to make a decision whether to set off the bomb or not from season 1. So, and there's a really fun, Harry has a roommate for a little while in the form of an octopus. So that's a fun dynamic as well.
I just kind of want to lead in a little bit. I'm actually a comic retailer first and a podcaster second. So I'm hoping a different question for you.
Right.
In the comic book series, there's a lot more, there's a lot more true crime versus kind of like this semi-comedy apocalyptic theme that we have going on, especially as we lead into season 2. Can I ask why you've decided to move into that direction more holistically overall?
As opposed to just the true crime stuff?
Yes.
It's a great question. When I was looking at the books, the comics, which I thought were brilliant, Peter Hogan and Steve Parkhouse are just incredible masters at that. And I fell in love with it, fell in love with the characters. There was one thing that I did not know how to do myself, and other writers or creators maybe could do it, but there was something going on in the comics, which is each comic sort of had a murder. And there was a bit of and this show could have been that. It could have been a more of a procedural murder of the week type of thing. But I didn't know as a writer how to do that and still portray this town as a town anyone would want to live in if there's that many murders going on. They did a great job in the comic going outside the town for the murders. We're sort of doing the same thing. There are, as you go into season 2, there is a sense that Patience has become a bit of a murder town because not only was there the murder of the doctor in the first season, but then this stuff happened in episode 10 of season 1. There was kidnappers, the doctor's missing. Like there is an aura of that, but it's all tied together. It feels more organic if it's tied together as opposed to this person got murdered and Harry's going to solve it. And then, this other person got murdered, Harry's going to solve it. And they're not connected. We've tried in the writer's room to connect all these things together so it feels all of one piece. So that was the main reason why we did it that way. It's nothing against the comics. The comics do it brilliantly and I love them, but it's a different genre. It's TV. So to play it out this way, this is the only way I would know how to do it.
Thank you.
Great question.
Hi, Chris. At the beginning, we start, obviously, Harry is not able to leave, which was kind of what the first season is about. So can you kind of tease a bit about sort of his trajectory this season of where he's headed and what his, I guess, goal is besides trying to save the planet?
Yeah, I mean, his goal up top is to try to save Asta, really. I mean, he doesn't really care about everyone else dying. I mean, he's fine with that, as as we'll find in the first couple episodes back. It's just Asta he wants to protect. So, journey wise, what he needs to realize is what Asta's trying to hammer into him. You can't just be okay with me surviving. What about there's people who I care about? It's not just about me. I have Jay, I have my dad, I have my friends. Like I'm not just me. I'm connected to all these people, and I love all these things. And you can't. What you see, protect me, and then everything else is gone. That's not a life that I want. So Harry doesn't understand the concept of that. He hasn't learned empathy yet. He hasn't learned this connectivity between human beings yet that most of us know inherently just by being kids and growing up in the playground and throwing sand in another kid's face, and they start to cry and you feel bad. You learn this empathy. You're like, oh, I don't like it when I make someone feel bad. So then you stop throwing sand in kids' faces. And as humans, we learn that as we grow up and we become adults. And unless we're a sociopath, hopefully we have this empathy and we can be kind to each other. Harry's a child. He hasn't learned that yet. So his journey is, especially in season 2, is to learn empathy and to learn to love and to appreciate and care about people outside of Asta. That maybe you should love someone or care about them because they're a human being with wants and fears and loves themselves. And he hasn't quite gotten that yet. So, his journey emotionally in season 2 is to gain empathy of other people. And then at least in the first part of the season, while doing that, he's trying to protect Asta from this threat from above coming down. So the question that the audience is waiting to figure out as they watch is he going to be able to stop his people from coming?
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
That in like the ending that we knew that Asta wanted Harry to go out and to socialize and to go forth. My question is for season 2, I know there's a possibility, maybe a new love interest. Can you talk a little bit about some of the newer characters that we're going to be introduced to?
Sure. It's a great question. We are, Alex Borstein is joining us for an episode. She plays Carlin, who is Kate Hawthorne, who's Ben Hawthorne's wife, Kate Hawthorne's cousin. She comes to town. She's a scientist at New Mexico Tech. She works in a lab, and she happens to have something in her lab that Harry could use to help him in his quest to try to save Asta this season from the imminent danger. So Harry takes her on a date and tries to woo her to get the thing from her that he wants. So we get to see Alan Tudyk and Alex Borstein on a date together, which is absolutely hysterical. We tried to beef up some of the characters we had last year. We see a little bit more of the octopus this year with Nathan Fillion, who's incredible. We see a little bit more Judy with Jenna Lamia, a little bit more, who's Darcy's friend, a little bit more Ellen, who is the nurse in the clinic, played by Diana Bang. We expand a little bit on Kate Hawthorne's character, played by Meredith Gerritsen. So we're really trying to fill out the world a little bit in season 2 and make it even more three-dimensional than it was before. And there are people coming back. Linda Hamilton's coming back as General McAllister. We'll have Terry O'Quinn back as the alien tracker. So we're really trying to keep the world what it was, but try to expand it a little bit and make it more exciting.
Thank you.
I'm just honestly going to follow up with that. What character are you most excited that we get to learn more about in the second season? That's not, of course, Harry or Asta.
Well, 2 people. I'm excited to bring Kate Hawthorne into the mix. I think Meredith Gerritsen adds a great flavor to the women on the show. She's another strong woman and plays a strong woman on the show. And it's great to see another element to, adding to Asta and Deputy Liv and Darcy. I'm excited to see more sides of Darcy this year. Darcy will have a love interest this year, which will be exciting to watch, and we'll see a little bit of a background and what Darcy's struggles are and why she is the way she is. Those are we'll see a lot. We'll see a lot of Asta's journey. We've really tried to fill out the background of a lot of these characters, and also Sheriff Mike will find out something from his past that sort of haunts him, and will give him more of a three-dimensional character arc as well. So there's a lot of really cool stuff coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Sorry, that was the last question.
Sorry, Jamie.
That's okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Great. Hi. Love the start of season 2. It's been great so far. So I'll ask 2 quick questions. I'll start with Mr. Tudyk. I'm big fan, long time. I really wanted to talk to you about your choices, Harry. You have a long time. I am so sorry. This is so bright. You
look great. So.
Oh, thank you. You have a long time history in sci-fi, in the nerd cultures. What really brought you to Harry as a character?
He's everything that I would want in a character. As far as it's, the show itself, that's the true test. If you read the script and if you like the whole show and the world that's created that Chris Sheridan wrote in the pilot, I was captivated by that. But then also, Harry is a murderer, so you think bad and it's serious, but he's doesn't know how to be a human, and he wants to kill a child, so definitely serious. But it's so funny simultaneously, and the sheriff is hysterically bizarre, and his deputy is also just a huge-hearted oddball, and everybody in this town is somebody I would want to tune in and watch. And it's physical comedy. It's as I said, it's drama, but it's also some action. It's everything all in one. So I've always liked that in projects. I got brought into sci-fi with Firefly, and it was similar in that way, that it had all of those same elements in one show, and they all work together, and it's just rare. So I was very happy to get to go to Patience and play.
Wonderful, thank you. And Mr. Reynolds, in the second season, at the end of the first season, we got to see a little bit more of Mike kind of round out. What are you really looking forward to? We're kind of seeing some pieces kind of fall apart, the layers of the onion fall away. What are you really excited that the audiences get to see coming into season 2?
I think the thing that I'm most excited about for the audience to get to see is some of Mike's backstory. I think in season 1, part of setting up the town of Patience was giving backstory to the people who are from Patience, that have the history there. And being that Mike is, other than Harry, obviously, Mike's the only other person who's not from Patience. So, we spent a little less time in his personal life and more in his professional life in season 1. Season 2 is going to flip that a little bit. We still have, the criminal, side of things where they're investigating crime, but there's a tremendous amount of depth that we go into what brought Mike to Patience. Everyone is hiding from something that they don't like about themselves in some way, whether you're looking at Harry or whether you're looking at Asta and the adoption, or whether you're looking at Darcy and relationship choices. Everybody's got something within themselves as the characters of the show that is something that's splintered and needs healing. And so we get a revealing of what that is more specifically for Mike this season. And it was a joy. I mean, I'm with Alan. A character that you can make jokes with and be dramatic with is every actor's dream, And so I was saying in the last interview, some of the most dramatic work I've ever done happens in season 2 on a comedy. So I'm eager for the audience to see that.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. But interesting.
Hello. My question is for Alan. I was wondering, as Harry, we kind of seen the struggle between the alien identity and struggling with human emotions. For season 2, can you talk about, especially when Harry goes forth into Patience and meets more of the different characters and people living there, can you talk about that battle within himself and how that will impact him in season 2?
Yes. It's you've nailed it. That is his struggle this season. It was what was happening right at the end of last season, that he was feeling these emotions and he didn't like it. He's losing his identity, and he's searching for that this season. And his link to humanity is Asta, and she's pushing him out because she doesn't want to be the only thing that keeps him from destroying all of humanity. And so she helps him embrace his emotions, but just like a kid, he's like a kid in so many ways. He feels them like a child would, since they're new. He doesn't have a governor on them; they just happen. So he needs a lot of help, and it can be very funny and also disturbing.
Thank you.
I'm yes.
Hi, guys.
Jamie.
Wanted to know if you could talk a little bit. This is kind of continuing on that, but Harry's struggled to kind of connect with other people and build these friendships this season. And then Corey, maybe you can chime in.
He's trying to make friends, or he wants to. Yeah, I think he'd be happy just living with pizza and Law and Order, and not really dealing with anybody else except Asta. But that's too much. He needs more friends, and he needs to go out into the world. But also, the world is coming after him. Sheriff Mike is coming after him, and their friendship is very unlikely at the beginning of the season because Harry happened to inhabit, or the alien happened to inhabit, the body of a murderer. And so now all the evidence points rightly to Harry, even though Harry didn't do the murdering. So
Not that murder.
Yeah.
Not that murder. He murdered a murderer.
It's a different murderer. Yeah.
He's a murderer, and that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, but yes, it's dealing with these emotions like a child. You saw it in season 1, like him learning about jokes. It's with your characters, with Mike, learning about jokes. Like his laugh isn't ha 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 ha. His laugh is just this open ha 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 ha. Like all of his emotions are the same way. When he feels sadness, it comes upon him like that. If there's fear, it's like that. Anger, same thing. So he has to not only, he needs to get used to his human side and learn to control it.
Great. All right. Well, thank you so much. Hi, Corey. Sorry, I didn't really get to hear from you.
No worries.
Thanks.
We'll get you next time.
Yep. Okay, I'll go for this time. Hi, guys. So you two have such a special friendship on the show. Can you kind of talk about, just coming together and garnering that, I guess, off screen and on screen, and kind of that journey this season, I guess, between the two of you?
Yes, we were just talking about how we feel that we are the Thelma and Louise of this show, and we feel like in season 2 we're just driving a car off into space together. At least like that's Asta's daydream. I just want Darcy to find out or like know the information, and I'm tired of lying to her. But in general, my friendship with Darcy is very reflective of my friendship with Alice. We are very much in love. We are chosen family. She makes me laugh like nobody else. And we just get along so well. And it's so easy when we're in scenes together.
I truly have never had an experience on set like the one I have working with Sara. Sara is really different from me. She works really differently. She comes from a completely different artistic background than I do. So we learn a lot from each other, and we have since day one. And there's a ton of mutual respect. But I think that what makes our chemistry work so well is the comfort we take in each other. Really, like Sarah is like the kind of person that if something goes wrong in your life, you just feel better if she's there, you know? And Sarah, for her part, you know, really appreciates me and sees me really well for who I am. And is very accepting. She's just a really accepting person. So I feel incredibly comfortable with her. And acting with Sarah is a dream. It's a dream come true. Every moment is magical, and I don't have chemistry like that with anybody else.
I think that we should just go off the rails and do a love story about
honestly, everybody else in this show, fuck them. You can print that.
Can we just have our own show?
All right. Thank you.
My question is for Sarah. You played Asta. My question, I was wondering, you sent Harry off. You want him to go forth and make friends and to learn how to be his own person in a way not attached to you. I was wondering, how does that change the dynamic of the friendship? Are you guys no longer as close as you were in season 1? And how does that also impact Alice's character as well, Darcy?
Good question, Dana. I think in season 1, you see Asta and Harry just get to know one another and become friends by the end. In season 2, they trust each other enough that she starts to become a bit of a mother hen and pushes him out of the nest and says, go, fly, find some other friends, make yourself useful. Which I think is really great for Asta to take some of the weight off of her shoulders and not be his only friend. But I don't think that it makes them less close. In fact, I think he comes back even more to the nest constantly. And he's like, what now? What now? What else do I need to learn? You know? And so it's very, it's becoming also familial. Same way that she's chosen family with Darcy.
Yeah, he is a baby. Like, he's a giant baby, Harry is. And he just doesn't have a lot of adult impulses. And I think that's sort of why Darcy has just dismissed him. You know, she's just like, he's just this guy who's very quirky. He's very weird. And I've run through him like I do most men in this town. Like, I've been there, done that with Harry. And so if Darcy were to find out maybe that he's from another planet, she would give him a second look, I think, but or be validated in her opinions of him. Like, well, that's why he's an adult baby. Mm-hmm. But for now, she's kind of like, this guy's weird. You know, she doesn't totally trust him, and she knows that Asta and Harry are friends, but you know, she's gonna get in the way if there's ever a situation where, you know, Asta is really, she feels like in danger, Darcy's going to get in the way.
She's going to step up.
Sarah, in many of your interviews, they also often talk about how you're related to the character in an Indigenous kind of way. I had a big question about your opinion of the motherhood, and we're going to see, we see more of that at the beginning of season 2. She's really kind of trying to accept her faults as a mother. How important is it for you to have this story told? Because in so many television shows, it's young motherhood is kind of vilified. And not only that, it impacts Darcy because she takes on this role as mentor, and it seems to almost be interfering with their relationship.
Yeah. Thanks, Heather. I think that this theme of motherhood doesn't just run between Asta and Jay, as we were saying, also between Asta and Harry. And I think there's just this, when she sees Darcy starting to have a relationship with Jay, there's a jealousy there because she doesn't get to know Jay in that way because she really messed things up. She really didn't reveal herself in a very respectful way to her own daughter. And I think you're right. I think a lot of the times motherhood on television is vilified in this way of like, you're either abandoned or you're on your own. It's like a single parenthood, and it feels like this awful thing that's happened to you. And even though there's a lot that's really hard about motherhood, and I cannot speak from my own experience, I'm not a mother yet, but I've seen a lot of close friends go through these ups and downs being a mother. And the thing that they all relay back to me about watching me on the show is how grateful they are to see a character who's really dealing with the troubles of not being able to be there for her daughter and not being able to have the same relationship that she sees Darcy having with her. And I've had a lot of people reach out and say how relatable that is, to feel, like they can see some of their own struggles in Asta, even if they have their own children and their own thing going on. They really feel like they have this understanding, or feel like they're being understood because she's able to emote in this way that you see on camera that you don't necessarily talk about how hard it is. And, I think her being adopted and already having her own mother abandon her is a real theme there. And she ends up doing that to Jay, but that's why she keeps her in her life, because she doesn't want to actually fully abandon ship,
Yeah.
I think it's really important.
If I could jump in, because I have a kind of I'm outside that sort of motherhood chain and Indigenous chain perspective on the show, as well as in reality. But like from an outsider's perspective, like it seems like the stories of displacement, especially familial displacement, as it works really well as a proxy for Harry's story. And it's obviously a really intensely integral theme to the Indigenous experience, both in this country and in Canada where we're filming. And as we learn and uncover more about residential schools and the chain of adoption and the broken chains of familial relationship and heritage, it comes up more and more in the show. And I think it's kind of, in a lot of ways, the only way that Harry, as an alien from another planet who is, intensely environmental, is able to kind of begin to understand humanity. So it's sort of the saving grace that he's where he is. He's in this specific town near this reservation and meets this woman who is adopted, who has a daughter that is disconnected from her. It's all like kismet. That it helps Harry understand, what he has in common.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. I am sure that I don't even know if I want to edit this, because I'm so nervous at how nervous I was at this. But I really want to thank the cast and crew who took time out of their day to speak to myself and other journalists, other podcasters who in excitement and enthusiasm about the second season of Resident Alien. A big thank you to Chris Sheridan, Alan Tudyk, Corey Reynolds, Sara Tomko, and Alice Wetterlund. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Very much looking forward to the second season, or to the rest of the second season from my end, from a regular fan to the entire season. And thank you all for watching this episode of Nerds Rule the World, the NRW. You can definitely follow us right here on YouTube, of course, and on Twitter at the NRW, and on Instagram at New Release Wednesday. Remember, that's still mine. You can follow me every Wednesday with the New Release Wednesdays, where I talk comic books. And you can follow me at Nerd is a Heather, which is the opposite of my Instagram and TikTok handles, at Heather is a Nerd. Thank you guys so much, and see you next time.